Welcome to How to Film Weddings. I am Nick, and today I am covering part 2 of how to edit a wedding video. I'm going to go into Pluralize 4 and sync up all of my footage from my ceremony, reception stuff, first look, letters, all of that. And then I'm going to go in, dump that footage into Premiere, and I'm going to go in and I'm going to start picking out the audio bits that I want to use for the highlight video. I am a very audio heavy user. I like telling story that way, and I like incorporating as much of that as possible. This wedding that I'm editing they had letters, the couple had letters that were really, really good. I did some interviews and asked them some really pointed questions, and if you need help with asking interview questions, we have a link for a video, right up here somewhere. It's gonna pop up right about here. Let's jump into Pluralize, get everything all synced up, and then we'll jump into Adobe Premiere and continue with our editing process. So here is Pluralize 4, and I'm gonna go into my Finder here. Still working on Mason and Grace's video, and I'm gonna start with the ceremony edit. So syncing all the ceremony stuff together. So here's my my folder here for my camera, and here are the two, and I'm just going to drop that in there. There's my camera. Now, it's real easy. You just drag and drop. Drag and drop. Now, one thing I find, like maybe you shot stuff in different frame rates. Like I like to film my ceremonies in 24 frames per second, but then like whenever the bride's coming in, I like to walk in with the crane in 60 frames per second so I can slow that down. So I always put that footage, whatever is going to be on a different frame rate, on its own timeline. Okay, on its own, timeline in here. So that's why, even though these two are shot with the same camera, their frame rates are different. So that's why I put them on different ones. Now I come in here and I have my audio, and I use the Tascam DR10Ls for these, and I love them because it brings you a backup track with the main track, and I have mine set to 10 dBs lower than the original. And so with this ceremony setup that we had, the church soundboard system was pretty bad, and so they didn't really have a good plugin for me, so I had to have lots of ambient mics, lots of stuff to back it up. So that's why I have my ceremony ambient here. I do have the Zoom that I was able to plug in, but I'm not really counting on that. I have my officiant, and the D file is the one that's 10 dBs lower, and because the sound system wasn't working really well during this day, I am going to use the officiant 10 decibels lower because he was speaking up and yelling quite a bit. For the groom, I drop in the main one, and the reason why this one is lower is because I had this on him all day, from the letter reading all the way through the ceremony. We keep our mics, our lav mics, on our grooms all day, and whenever they're not using it for like family pictures and formals and stuff, I just pull the lapel off and then I put it in his pocket and then make sure to put it back on before the ceremony starts. And then we do mic up our brides, but for this wedding it actually didn't work because the bride's dress, it just didn't work with her dress. You could see the cord running down. So I used her microphone and I put it on the stage, and I wrapped it around the podium where someone was reading it from. So now Pluralize is preparing all the media, getting ready to synchronize everything, and it's going to tell me when it's ready. And then when it does, I'll hit the synchronize button and it will put it all together. It's really convenient. It's really cool. Okay, now Pluralize has said that everything is ready. So then I just come up here and I hit this big orange button that says synchronize, and bam. Okay, so there you have it. Pluralize has now synced my entire ceremony. And so now what I'm gonna go ahead and run through really quick is we're gonna do another time lapse, and I'm gonna go ahead and sync up my reception stuff, my first look, letter reading, interviews, all of that. So stay tuned, we'll be back in a moment. Okay, so now as you see in here, I have my Pluralize folder in my overall folder, and I have ceremony, Grace, her letter and interviews, Mason's letter, and also with his is his interview, and then their first look, and then the reception. And then reception includes everything that I want to keep and be synced together in the reception. So the grand entrance, cake cutting, toasts, first dances, all of that is in the reception. So now, whenever I hop over into Premiere, here's the thing that I set up on our last video. All the footage ready. And I create a new folder, and in this folder I put doc edits. I like to keep everything organized and together. And then so I have ceremony. Okay, as you can see, I like to have these as condensed and as organized as possible. So I actually go in and I take the sequence and I rename it. And so here they all here in my doc edits folder. I like to just keep everything nice and concise. Okay, so now I have all of my footage synced up and into Adobe Premiere. I have everything ready to go. And I'm going to start here with my bride letter and just listen through this and pick out some sound bites and then get that all marked off and ready to go so that whenever I pick out the music, I can start laying that stuff down as I go. So here we go. All right, so through the magic of editing, I have already culled through my speeches and letters and interviews and that kind of stuff, and I have picked the best parts. So here we have Grace's letter that she read from Mason, and then Mason's letter that he read from Grace. And then I also had some interview questions that I asked them. They answered those. This section right here is their first look, and here is usable parts that I think will fit their story for the toasts. Because I have almost 15 minutes of audio here that I can potentially use in their highlight film, I haven't included anything from the ceremony, and this is one whenever I have a lot of letters and a lot of toasts, I usually don't include something from the officiant unless I think it really just fits with it. And what I have here is, I think, really great stuff, so I'm not going to include that in their highlight film probably. Now when I get in there and I actually start editing, that might change, but for now this is going to work. I mean, this is 15 minutes of very usable audio, so that's what I'm going to do. I feel like I'm saying the same thing over and over again, so I think it's time for me to wrap up. Thank you so much for watching. In our next video, I will go in and I will select the music, and then I will start laying out all of this stuff and showing you how I get the edit ready for me to add all of the B-roll and stuff. The first thing I do is pick the music, and then I add voiceover stuff, and then I do the finishing touches and that kind of thing. So that will be our next video. What did you think? Is this kind of how you set up your edits? I showed you how to sync everything with Pluralize 4, and then I went through and I culled through the footage to get the best toast to get ready for the highlight video. Make sure if you watched this video and you liked it, give us a thumbs up. Share it if you want to. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell so every time that we upload something new, you can be notified. And until next time, see ya.